Today I'm going to show you how I made my famous Ableton Rack Easy Washout that does this. And how you can make it too. Then you can make any custom rack or Ableton plugin that you want. I'll also show you some cool tricks to make some scaled and exponential macros as well. And if all of this sounds like too much work, I'll put a link below where you can download the plugin for free right away. But why listen to me? Well, I've toured 33 countries, had multiple #1s on Beatport, signed hundreds of records to the world's top labels like Armada, Spinnin', Toolroom, Defected, as Bassclef and Analog Soul. And since 2016, I've been helping producers like you finish great songs fast and get a pro sound. Okay, so here's the plugin, Bassclef's Easy Washout. Let's hear a slightly longer version of it. So yeah, it helps make your build-ups more intense by kind of washing out what's there and turning the track into an instant build-up moment for you. Now, some of you might have noticed that it looks similar to a popular paid plugin that I'm not going to name the name of here, but that one came out in around about 2017, and my free one, I actually released it to the public here on YouTube in 2014. And I made it all the way back in 2010. You can actually hear it on one of my tracks called Hey Ya that came out around that time. So this one definitely came out first, but whether mine inspired theirs or not, who's to say? If it did, that's very flattering. Anyway, so the reason I made it is a similar reason why I make a lot of macro plugins is to kind of save time. I noticed I was doing a lot of the same things over and over again when I was making build-ups in tracks. I was often introducing delays and reverbs and filtering and high pass and compression and all sorts of stuff. And I thought, why am I doing this over and over again and loading all these plugins? I'm just going to build a Ableton macro rack. They're perfect for this, and I can use it on all my songs. And I did. I used it on loads of tracks, and yeah, then I eventually decided to give it away to everybody for free. And it's been really cool seeing it pop up all over the place. It's been used by Cashmere, Chris Lake, Nightmare, Tommy Trash, 12th Planet, Peking Duck, Panda Eyes, Kaztech, Tom Hades, and many more. So I'm stoked and honored that so many people are getting so much use and enjoyment out of it. And today I thought it would be fun to show you guys what's under the hood of this plugin and explain exactly what's happening. So if you want, you can follow along with me and you can build this plugin out yourself. Or like I said, you can just download it below too. Anyway, when we open it up here, you'll see all the plugins that are inside of it. Some people sometimes comment and wonder that is this just a filter and a reverb? There's a few more things going on. So I'm going to walk you through them all and explain them. Let's take a look. I'll delete these ones out here. And we'll start with the first one. We've got a grain delay happening here, and there's a few things being moved by the macro. Actually, even before that, I should mention that when you move it for the first time, it switches everything on and off too, so that when it's on the 0 position, everything is turned off. So all the bypass buttons are set to macro as well. You'll see here with all of it, switching on and switching off. All right, so let's hear what this grain delay is doing. Love grain delay. So yeah, it turns on. It's bringing up the wet and dry there. Oh, I should turn on my pointer for you. Bringing up that wet and dry, and it's also adjusting the spray speed. So it's kind of breaking it into little pieces and making things sort of blurry and a bit more mayhem. Next, after that, we have the auto filter, and you can tell how old it is because it's still running in legacy mode, and there's an upgrade button there. So this one's just doing a little bit of high pass filtering. But there is also a little bit of envelope happening too, so it gets a bit of a whoa, whoa. And it brings up a little bit of resonance as well too. Next up, we have a reverb in here. I think this one is just doing wet and dry pretty much. I just dialed in a setting for the reverb space. Now it's starting to really sound like it. But there is more. We've got next up the EQ8 over here. And this one is just pulling out a little bit of extra low end. I guess when I made it, I must have felt like it wasn't taking out enough lows. And it's doing this with a low shelf, a much more gentle way. So the combination of the high pass filter and this is working better for me, especially when I use it on a full track like this. Then after the EQ8, there is a filter delay, bringing in 3 different delays here, one panned hard left, right, one in the middle, all at different speeds and filter settings. Again, to kind of blur things out and help get that washy feel. And finally, a bit of compression to control the volume because it starts to build up and get a bit louder the more you do this. You can see the compression kick in at that loudest point at the end. And you can also see that this is the old Ableton compressor too. It's still got the upgrade and the F1, F2 and feedback. Another sign of how old this is. vintage, you know? So yeah, that's pretty much what's under the hood. Feel free to take any screenshots of what's there on screen and recreate this yourself. Have some fun with it. Now, I'd normally use this on the master bus just before your limiter, but you can absolutely use it on individual tracks like your drum group or a lead or a vocal. Sometimes I might even set up a bus where everything goes there except, say, the vocal. So I can wash out everything but keep the vocal clear. Up to you. Now, let me show you a cool quick tip about how you can adjust the settings too. If you press this map button here, that shows all the macro mappings. It says what the effect is, what the parameter is, and the start and end point when I turn the knob. This is how you build these things, and I'm going to show you this in this video. But there's one important thing at the very bottom here. This is the last one on the compressor, the output gain. If you're ever using this plugin and you find that it just gets a bit too loud for you for your particular song, just come over here and drop this down here. Because we're saying start the knob position at 0, end up at -3. If that feels too loud, bring it down to like -6 or something. And now it won't get as loud. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make your own macro plugins from scratch. Let's do a real quick example here. I'm just going to load up a filter and a hybrid reverb. You want to select both plugins, hit Command-G to group them, then click this little round icon here at the top. That opens up the macro panels, and we're going to map them from scratch. So click the map button, choose what you want to control, the filter frequency, we'll try that. We'll map it to that first knob. And then I'm also going to take the send on the reverb. I'm going to click that and hit map there as well too. And you'll see that they're appearing up the top here in this list. And it's telling us here the starting and end point. So the filter is going to go from 20 Hz to 20K. The send is going to go from nothing all the way up to 0. Let's try turning the knob. You see two things move. This is the magic of macros. You can turn one knob and have many things turn for you. Let's see what it sounds like. This is extra fun because we're using it as a send so that even when we pull the filter down, it lingers over the top. Now we can change the filter type as well too. Let's go to high pass and try it again. But what if you didn't want it to go so high? Well, we just click the map button. We go to the filter and we say, I don't want you to go all the way up to 20K. Just go up to say, I don't know, 500 Hertz. Let's try that. You get the idea? You can also right click on any of these things and invert the range, and they'll swap around as well too, which can be handy when you're setting up a lot of stuff. So like I said, some of the best times to use these are for saving time. If you notice you're doing the same thing over and over again, maybe you can make a macro out of it. Like here's a handy one here. On this saturator over here, I've got a macro that turns the drive up and the output down. This is something I'm often doing when I'm making a setting on a distortion so that I can hear the distortion, but it's not getting louder. Let's try this. So being able to have one knob that I can turn that does that all at once, it's kind of handy. That's just a simple example, but you can get pretty deep with this stuff. It's also super cool on synths and instruments. Here I've got a common setup that I might use to increase the intensity in a synthesizer. Check this out. Pretty cool, right? So I just turn that one knob and it kind of makes everything feel like it's getting more intense. So let's look at what's mapped there. I've got the low pass filter frequency, so it gets brighter. I've got the high pass filter frequency, so we remove some low end. I've got the envelope release for envelope 1 for the volume, so it gets a bit longer as well as we play it. I've got the send from hybrid reverb increasing. And I've also got some echo doing the same, but you can't do it as easily with echo. So I'm using one of my macro plugins here. It's called Send Insert, where you can basically then set up any plugins that be running as a send and return kind of setup. This is in my macro plugin pack on my website. But yeah, then that way as we turn the knob up, it gets brighter, the bass goes away, it introduces reverb and delay. It just feels like things are getting more intense. It can also be fun to map things like the amount of envelope on the filter or the filter envelope attack and decay. Just makes things a little bit more expressive and exciting. And then when you're automating stuff in your song, often you only need to just turn one knob. Actually, I do a similar thing when I'm playing live. I have macros set up like this on my hardware because you've only got two hands. Okay, let's try something slightly more advanced here. You might notice that as I turn this up, we lose a little bit too much bass too quickly, but I do like how it sounds at the end. I'd like to be able to have that high pass filter move up more slowly, not like a perfectly linear line. And now you can do that in Ableton. You want to load up this plugin here, Shaper. Let's bring this in. Let's set it to be one direction, 100%. And we want to put it on this manual mode. And then that way we can have a manual control that sweeps through things. I'm going to change the direction of this shape. And we can come over here and unmap the current high pass filter just by pressing delete. I'm then going to map this manual control on Shaper to our intensity knob. So you'll see it moving there. And then inside Shaper, you can press its map button and click on the high pass filter. So now you'll see it's moving the high pass filter when I turn that. And it's moving it in a perfectly linear way like before. But the cool thing is we can draw stuff in here. So I'll put in a point, and what if I pull it all the way down? So now it does nothing until it gets to halfway, and then it rises. Let's try that. You'll see nothing, 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 and then it starts to rise. Let's try that. Cool, huh? You might have heard it kind of cut out at the end there. It did something weird. This is a side thing you need to notice about Shaper. When you're using that Shaper thing, don't let it go to 100%. Just go to 99%. Otherwise, it kind of cuts off at the end. So we can try that again. Now, you could also come in here and hold Option, and you could bend that and make it an exponential curve. We could even make it rise up and then fall down again. Let's try that one. Maybe a bit too aggressive, but maybe something more like this. And then you can do all sorts of stuff with these preset kind of shapes here and drawing in whatever you want. You can get super creative with it. You can even send this to many locations, all from the one thing too, and load up as many of these as you want. So that really takes Ableton macros to the next level these days now with the inclusion of the Shaper plugin. It was something I was always craving when I used to make a lot of these, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I'm excited to see what you guys will make with it. Now, like I said before, if all of this sounds like way too much work, I've put a download link in the description below the video where you can just download my easy washout ready to go. And there's a bunch more free stuff up on my website at baseclef.com. We also do one-on-one producer mentoring, track feedback, courses on how to finish great songs fast, advanced mix downs, music theory for music producers, and much more. I'll put links for all those things down below. But if you just want to keep learning on YouTube right now, then check out this video on screen. I'll let the algorithm choose the best one for you. Talk soon.